Ivan, how you doing? I was going to go to sleep. I really was going to go to sleep, and then I realized I couldn't sleep because I still was a little upset or just mulling about this one thing that happened. And I made a short about it today a little bit. And I actually, when you make a short, you have the opportunity to choose like what the actual thumbnail or piece from the short is the part, and I didn't. And it was the most unfortunate and funny part where it misunderstood when I was saying you had to cross every T and dot every I. I think it's spelled T, T-E-E, and I, E-Y-E, which is pretty funny because I had the caption going across the top. But essentially, what had happened was I had a, let's see if I can see this. Run. What had happened was my boss got fired a few days ago, or like I think Friday we got told. So I think she got fired Thursday, and it was after a call she was on with me and her boss. And a few hours later, we get the message that we all have to have this mandatory meeting on Friday, and so she's no longer working with the company. They don't tell us why, but the writing's kind of on the wall. And we had meetings with the interim managers today. And once again, these were all on Zoom, but I was able to, I'm not Zoom, Teams. So I put everybody in a little gallery and we all sat together. And essentially, we kind of figured that maybe she got fired because she wasn't, whatever she was doing, but maybe she wasn't keeping a close enough eye on us. And that seems to be the case because the two managers that are splitting their schedules to manage us as well as their other people, well, they my guy talked to my team, other guy talked to the other team. We kind of talked to each other afterwards. And the thing they essentially were telling us is, without telling us, is we don't trust you. And so we're going to micromanage every part of your day. And we work remotely. We work out in the field. So we're not in an office doing like office type work. We're going out to various locations. And they want us to be very, very, check in all the time. Where am I? What am I doing? All this kind of thing. And they said, gave us a lot of parameters about, what we expect you to do. Things we already know in terms of the way we're supposed to behave, or I'm not saying it right, but there's certain little things that we need to do, like, how we need our emails need to read and all these kind of things. And it was just very unfortunate because the culture, the message we were being given over and over again, even though my guy was smiling, was that we don't trust you. They're clearly there. I think they're just, putting or repeating the message their boss gave them. And I'm sure they're aware that they might be next because their lateral equivalent just got fired for apparently not keeping close enough tabs on us. So they're kind of worried, well, maybe I'm next. So they're pushing, or just repeating what they do, what he's telling them to do, which means he doesn't trust us. And I met this guy and he seemed nice enough. However, the writing on the wall is more and more that once again, it's like one of these corporate structures where they just don't trust their people, and they're letting you know they don't trust you. And because of that, we're going to micromanage you. And before, we were told, well, essentially, if the customers are happy, if you're doing the things you need to do, and we're not hearing any complaints, that's very good news. You're doing your job. And now, no, that's not good enough. It's that we need to know not just that you're getting the results, but are you actually working? Are you actually doing all things at every single moment of the day? It's just an unfortunate culture to live in, and I see it happening more and more, which just blows. So that's kind of a terrible, terrible culture to be living in. And it's just more writing on the wall for me. Mene, tekel upharsin. That it's time to look around, not just look for different jobs, but to do something different where I'm not like constantly under that kind of in that environment, so probably not working a job. If I can do something entrepreneurial, better. But what else? Music is going very, very well. It's very, very busy. This weekend, I'm actually not gigging, which is pretty freaking cool because I have been a lot lately. So it's a nice little break. And next weekend, I think this last week I had 3 gigs. This next week I have 4 gigs and a practice. That's going to be something else. Doing some sound gigs, doing some regular bass guitar gigs, and doing a practice with another band. So I think it's actually working on 5 different bands next week. So hooray. Good stuff. I hope you're doing something that's equally as fun and satisfying. Because I tell you what, it's a hoot, and I'm really glad I got involved with more music after, putting it, being less active. So even though the last few years have been really, really busy, they've been pretty awesome. And I've enjoyed, making some more videos about, stuff like that. And role playing wise, man, been a little bit slack lately. Or haven't been able to play very much, which is, I need to make a video about the challenges of playing with a group of people online that are all over the world, and and what have you. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. I was talking to somebody very recently, and the great thing about the internet and the age that we live in now is that you can find your people. It might take time, but in my experience, it's much more refined. The group you end up with, much more refined group as a role-playing game community. And you also, have this great option of being able to say, okay, well, here's this game we're going to play, or, so-and-so and so-and-so, like a couple of us are going to opt out because it's not really floating our boat. And we get to talk about the game beforehand and even kind of like, change, okay, I think I'm going to sit this one out. No hard feelings. And that's cool. So within this group of people that I play with, depending on what game it is, different groups of people, and new faces keep on getting added every once in a while. So that's really neat. You don't have that same kind of opportunity, I don't believe, in your local community. I mean, you can, there's probably more people there in one area, but the ways they play, the things they like to play are all so different. And here we're casting this huge net, if you will. And so we're able to really kind of find our people. I think that's very, very cool. So, I wouldn't have it any other way, despite the fact that sometimes, schedules get in the way and we just can't get together for a little while. But, the great thing too about putting stuff up, on YouTube, whether it's public or not, is, if it's been a long time, we can go back and watch the sessions, which is extremely cool. So I dig that as well. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on. Probably not. Probably not. So I hope things are going well with you. I just wanted to vent about that because it had me a little ticked off. It was one of those things where not so long ago, my boss's boss, I guess that's your skip manager. Not so long ago, he was down the area because he manages a good chunk of the country, and he was asking me, why aren't you doing anything more important? Whatever. We're talking about that, and he said that's one thing I don't like is that we don't keep our talent, and that we're not doing enough to keep our talent. Okay, great. And now, a month later, they're telling us, well, we don't trust you, so we're going to keep a really close eye on you. We've already fired your boss, and so you might be next. Well, just that atmosphere that they're giving us is like, well, I can tell you why you're not keeping your talent, buddy. Because you're, essentially telling us you don't trust us, and what you're almost, what you're saying is, hey, you should go look for another job without saying it. Really, really unfortunate, and it's more unfortunate because when I talk to people about this, I get the response, oh yeah, it's like that at my company too. It doesn't need to be like that. And I never thought I'd be the person sitting there complaining about, or I don't know if complaining is the right word, but finally being mad as hell and not taking any more about stuff like that. But here I am thinking, man, you know what? The more I think about this, the less this is conspiracy theory, and the more this is like, man, the way things are in a lot of, in terms of how a lot of jobs run, a lot of businesses run, a lot of corporations run. Well, this isn't cool because, we're not commodities. We're not resources. We're human beings. You ought to treat us like that. And if you don't, well, I got news for you. I'll go someplace else. And the sad thing is we are so conditioned, we sign up for that, and we don't take that impetus and say, yeah, you know what, I'll see you later, pal. And so having gotten myself in that position where I can't just afford to jump out and say, take this job and shove it, I'm working towards being able to step out and exit stage right or left or whatever that guy did. Heavens to Murgatroyd. What the hell was his name? But anyhow, I hope things are going as well for you. Music is a hoot. Well, even though, my God, One guy just gave me like a bunch of songs to learn that, I was like, are you serious? We learned all these other songs for you now, so but that's good. That's actually a great way to stretch yourself musically. That's been and I'm so glad I went and really jumped back in full throttle at 56. Well, I guess it was 54 when I really started putting the pedal to the metal. Because it was like a part of my life that had been missing for a good long time. And that went where I was doing it in earnest. And now I'm like, yeah, this is awesome to be able to do that again and live more out loud, live more authentically. And, so yeah, I do want to play get to playing some more games because I'm missing doing that right now. Because for a while we had our Call of Cthulhu game with Anthony pretty regularly on Wednesday nights, and just things happen. So it's sporadic. It's kind of like, can you guys play tonight or tomorrow? And a few times I just haven't been able to, which blows. But I miss that. I miss doing the Thursday night thing as well. So I need to get something that's on a regular basis, and somehow sandwich it into my schedule because life isn't about life's not about going to a job you hate. And taking care of responsibilities. There's part of it where you need to take care of responsibilities and do the things you need to do to survive or to maintain, whatever kind of life you have, like, pay your bass guitars off and stuff like that. But there's a lot of life that, to me, the biggest thing is like, when we were kids, we didn't think about all that. We thought, this is cool, I want to go do this. And we never thought to ourselves, gosh, am I getting enough done? And you can argue and say, well, you're being childish and you want to live like a kid. Not exactly, but kind of. As long as I take care of my responsibilities, I ought to be able to. You ought to be able to. You ought to be able to enjoy life because we only get to do this one time. And I don't want to be sitting there. I doubt I'll be sitting there on my deathbed thinking to myself, "Yeah, I was so responsible. That was great." I'd much rather, and yes, I do. Integrity and all that kind of stuff are very important to me. But, the thing that people regret, I would have thought it would have been like, I wish I spent more time with my family. The number one regret of people on their deathbed apparently is, man, I wish I hadn't have listened to all these people and just lived for what I thought what I should do. I wish I'd just gone after the stuff I was really interested in, things I really wanted to do. And there's a big chunk of my life where I didn't do that. And so, not getting any younger. So I figured, well, let me start doing that again. So I'm really glad I did. And screw them. They can't have me. I'm gonna stick it to the man. So yeah, stick it to the man. I'll leave you with that. And thanks for being on the ride with me. Take it easy, kids.